Social media has taken many forms over the years. Most notably, starting with Friends Reunited and Myspace, all leading the way for the emergence of the behemoths around today in the likes of the InstaGoogle-TweetFace. The clamour to connect with friends and share all sorts of personal information blew up at an incredible rate. Within no time at all, 1 in every 6 people on the planet is thought to have had a Facebook account at some point or another, all sharing stories and thoughts with the world. But did we really consider the impact of sharing our thoughts with the world? It's easy to forget that once something hits the internet, it is gone forever. Not in terms of being lost, oh no, but rather in that it can never be taken back. That photo you posted when drunk and whilst funny doesn't paint you in the best light. Yep, it's gone. The humorous cuss you gave someone in a tweet, that's gone too. The short video that tells an embarrassing story, yep, that's gone too. They are no longer yours. You gave up all rights of ownership the moment you posted it on the World Wide Web. It's easy to forget that the impact will be, especially when it's in the future. In the immortal words of Donald Rumsfeld, this is a known unknown. But ignoring future implications is being naive, because I would go as far to say it's being downright stupid. Yes, that sounds like the Latvian police, harsh but fair, but there's no easy way to say it. Just consider for a moment, after posting something on the internet, how do your relatives feel? What would your current employer think? How would you be viewed in the eyes of a future employer? These are all seriously impactful questions that are regularly ignored. Before we get into that, if you're new here, welcome. My name is Brendan. I'm a recovering accountant, lifelong learn-it-all, and fellow millennial. I help millennials navigate busy lives and ultimately make sure that work doesn't suck. If you haven't yet, please go on and push that subscribe button and nudge the bell so it wobbles. That just means you'll get the latest content the moment it is released. We've all seen the fallout of tweets from a decade ago that came back to haunt those in the public eye. Just think about comedian Kevin Hart, England cricketer Ollie Robinson, and the chump that is Donald Trump. They have all fallen foul of poorly thought through tweets coming back to haunt them in later years. The problem is, when we were younger, the internet was still in its infancy. The World Wide Web was slowly gaining traction, and with it our understanding of what will happen in the future. It's fair to say that in the early days, the internet was the modern day equivalent of the Wild West. Literally, anything goes. There were no restrictions, no seeming recriminations, no blowback if you got something wrong. Then, everything changed. The world woke up to the impact of privacy and technology, and as it stands now, there is a developing battle between Apple and Facebook over privacy rights. Apple believes that data should be private, with each individual able to choose their privacy, whereas conversely Facebook wants to connect to the world and thereby remove any privacy allowed to individuals. Regardless of which side you fall on, how we present ourselves online can have an enormous impact on our lives. The image we portray using the internet and social media platforms creates a story we want others to see. It can be developed both positively or negatively in the image we want. But it's vital we remember one thing. The moment you post something, anything online, it has gone forever. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, whatever the platform, the moment you upload to the net, it is out of your hands. You relieve the rights to that image, video, or story. This is a harsh lesson to learn, and many of us, including me, got it wrong in the beginning. Just think, how many photos did you upload when joining Facebook? How many friends did you try and connect with? We gave away our innermost details all for free. The issue is we can't take it back. No matter what any company says, the moment it's left the safety of your own desktop, that piece of content is no longer yours. That's why what you post on social media is incredibly important, especially when searching for a job. Yes, it can be your friend, but it can also be your enemy. And all of your own undoing too. Whether you like it or not, current and future employers will Google you and be influenced by what they see. So taking a step back for a moment, if you ponder that question, are you happy with what they would find? If the answer is yes, then great. But are you sure? Do the photos you have on social media give the right impression of you? Have you thought about how your tweets, status updates, TikTok stories will reflect on you in 1, 2, 5, or even 10 years' time? These are questions we must all consider, even more so now as social media becomes increasingly prevalent in our daily lives. Now, here is an excellent tip. When navigating the quagmire that is social media, it is worth having a simple rule to help you. This rule I learned when training as an accountant with E&Y here in London, and it stayed with me ever since. At the time of recording, that's the best part of 15 years. When you join a big corporate company for the first time, it can be pretty overwhelming. The big buildings, the glass doors, the hustle and bustle of business. That's why these companies make it painfully clear that everything you do is a reflection on that company. The moment you leave the building, you are the face of the company. That's what E&Y told me. They also said that whatever you do, don't do anything to bring shame on our business. In fact, paraphrasing, they just said, don't fuck up. Okay, I get it. But to make it easier to understand, they said, if anything you do were to hit the front page of the Daily Mail, a tabloid newspaper here in the UK, would you be embarrassed? If the answer is yes, don't do it. Short and brutally simple. But this is a rule that has stuck with me ever since. I've used it to sense check actions on a frequent basis as it's easy to apply. Ignore the fact that my mother reads the Daily Mail and would probably be the first person to ask me what the fuck I'm doing on the front page of it. But that aside, it's an easy rule we can all apply. So the next time you want to post a status update, put out a tweet or upload a photo, just ask yourself, if this were to hit the front page of a tabloid newspaper, would you be embarrassed? If the answer is yes, you know it's best not to post it. Now, the reason for saying all this is when we are looking for a new job, hiring managers and companies will search for you on the internet. I know this is true as I've been responsible for hiring a lot over the last decade, and I've seen it in action. How you come across online will help you maximize your chances of success, or could quite possibly stop your application in its tracks even before the interview stage. With all this in mind, and to help you navigate the crazy world that is social media, I've collated what I think will be the best way for you to maximize your social media presence in a good way. So here are my 5 must-do tips for your social media accounts, especially when looking for a job. Number 1, know your digital ID. I'm going to bet the chances are your digital ID is pretty complex. Some of it you create. Think your Facebook account and your LinkedIn page. Some of it is created by your friends. These are posts, comments, and photos you're in posted by your friends. And then there are those who are created by total strangers. These are your teachers at school, previous work colleagues, and anybody else you've pretty much interacted with over the last however many years. Put simply, your first task is to discover what is out there. This is exactly the same process a future employer will use when they begin researching you. The best way to do this is conduct a basic search of your name and its variations. This means with middle names, without middle names, with initials, without initials. You get the picture. It's all variants that could cause you to pop up on social media. You may want to try combos like your name plus your school, or your name or your last employer. These are all avenues which future employers are likely to pursue too, so why not try it first to see what pops up? Try and be creative in drilling down to the material about yourself, as there may be plenty of generic material out there, especially if your name is more common. John Smith. Once you've narrowed things down, I would suggest clicking on the top 10, probably up to 20 links. Please read what they produce carefully. You are looking at exactly what a future prospective employer can see. It is worth paying attention to anyone who may have the same or similar names. I mean, mistaken identity at its best is annoying, at its worst could be a serious damage to you and your reputation. Even if your exact non-biological twin still troubles you, I would suggest creating a clean, professional name for your social media sites. This is easy to do and can be achieved through searching variations of your name until you find one without anything negative associated with it. Then claim it on LinkedIn and other social media sites. This is the one that you will use on all job applications going forwards. It will be the main identity on your CV, your email address, and job applications, etc. It can take some time to redo and reposition anything you've already got in place, but it is time well spent. Adding or changing your middle name with an initial is a simple but effective way of differentiating yourself from any previous identity. Number 2, conduct a social media deep clean. This is not quite as painful as conducting a house deep clean, but it is just as important. You must look over and review everything on your social media timelines with the aim of removing any dirt, embarrassing footage, or comments that you wouldn't want employers or recruiters to see. In the worst case, if you can't delete it yourself, contact the site manager or whomever is responsible for the site and request to have it removed straight away. The obvious one is to check Facebook, or Meta as it's known now, although I think it's a ridiculous name brand, but let's put that to one side. Any of those posts that you're tagged in, and go and untag yourself. The purpose is to remove yourself from any post that contains any content of you, including photos, that is just simply unprofessional. Each social media platform is different, but the principle applies. Identifying where you are tagged, the content you are associated with, and how you are portrayed online is all part of the exercise. For example, if you are on Twitter, you can review mentions on your profile name and discover tweets by others that mention you. The same goes for Instagram, TikTok, whatever the latest platform is. Ultimately, if you can't remove an uncomplimentary comment or photo, you can at least prepare a response should a potential employer ask you about it. Number 3, monitor your mates. It's all good and well being diligent yourself, but what about your bezies? Your friends might not be as thorough as yourself, so it's worth keeping an eye on what your friends are posting and specifically what they are tagging you in. To make this a little easier, change the security settings on the social media platform so you can review anything you're tagged in before it goes live. That way you can catch anything that may be less than flattering before it goes into the public domain. In worst case scenarios, you may ask serial offenders to stop tagging you or at least have cooperation in what they are tagging you in. It is worth using technology to help you, as creating a free alert to notify you when anything is posted with your name is quite an easy way to go. These can be done via Google for a free alert, and an email will pop into your inbox each time something is posted with your name attached to it. Simples. Number 4, up your privacy game. Now this is definitely a bit of a balancing act. Even though you want to be visible online to a potential employer, being able to lock down what is seen is key. Every social media platform has privacy settings that will let you restrict how visible you are. In most cases, certainly with Facebook/Meta, you can limit what other people share about you. By delving into the security settings and heading to privacy, you can choose options which will limit what can be shared, etc. It is worth having a look around the platforms which you use most frequently to assess the privacy settings and make sure they are appropriate. Are they correct for you? Do they allow you sufficient control over what's posted about you? Now, I know it is a balancing act and often requires a bit of trial and error, but it's worth it. Because by going through this effort beforehand, trialing these before you go job hunting, it means that you might not be too invisible, as that will cost you your job. Conversely, having the right level of visibility is key. Remember, it is good practice and time well spent to review the privacy settings for all your accounts regularly. But it's not all doom and gloom, as number 5 is about how to use social media to your advantage. Number 5, commit. This may sound slightly counterintuitive, but you should decide on the platforms you will use. Then make a point, or at least a concerted effort, to post comments, write articles, and share knowledge which helps curate the image you are looking for. By doing so, you will evidence that you are up to speed with your industry and connected with leaders in your field. Just remember though, that all the content you are sharing, including the old nudge of the like button, supports the image you want to deliver to a potential employer. It is easy to forget, but never share something without reading it carefully first. This is what comes back to bite many in the arse. Bringing yourself back to the top of the timelines is a great way to stay relevant in the marketplace. By adding fresh content regularly, it keeps you front of mind when someone searches for you. The closer to the top of the search list you are, the greater the likelihood of being seen by the dream employer you are. The content you create, produce, and share gives hiring managers an idea of your personality. It just shows you what you're passionate about. For me, I'm passionate about sharing knowledge and helping others achieve more than they realize. That's why I create these YouTube videos. It's my way of showing who I am. No matter the level of role I am performing, I will always share what I know. This is me. I want it to be as authentic as possible, so if we were to meet unexpectedly in the street, the person you would meet is exactly the same person as I am on screen. I might be more excitable or taller, although that's unlikely, than you might expect, but what you see is what you get. Although I am going a bit bald, so please don't mention that. That's why having a presence online is such an asset when you get it right. It gives any potential employer an idea of who you are well before meeting you. It goes over and above what any black and white words on a page in a CV can give. It gives you the best possible chance of creating a good impression in advance, and that is always a good thing. And that's it. By understanding how you come across on social media and portraying the image you want to present, it gives you a much better chance of using social media to your advantage. But if you like this video, please do check out this video here where I talk about how I quit my job with nothing to go to because I hated the Sunday evening blues. And with that, have a great day, and I'll see you all in the next video. Cheers.